Well, it's another lovely day right here on Atlantic TV, and you do know it's Viewpoint every awesome weekday morning from Mondays and runs through Friday. I still remain Michael Gobadia. But you do know I'm never alone, especially when we're having this on the go. I have my colleague here, Patience Monday, joining me on this awesome edition. Good morning to you, Patience.
Good morning, Mr. Michael.
Well, it rained heavy yesterday, and everywhere seems to be pretty cold.
Very, very cold. The rain yesterday was pretty heavy, and you know, for we singles.
Well, anyways, she can say that again. Okay.
So, you know, Viewpoint to start with the dailies and the dialogue comes around, then followed by the daily news roundups. And you can do also connect with us on all our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Atlantic Media, and TV.
Well, anyway, we need to go on a break now, but when we come back, you do know the dailies will take center stage right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. Well, on the dailies today, we have 6 papers. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian, Daily Trust, The Nation, and Nigerian Tribune will be wrapping things up. But you do know I always love starting with The Punch. Let's see what The Punch has as usual, especially on its front page. And on The Punch this morning, the leading story reads, Wike-backed PDP fumes. A whole lot of issues. And over Makinde and ADC alliance plan. And we're talking about the 2027 alignment. Well, a lovely caption. Right as to follow, Oyo Governor Atiku Obi Kwankwaso Amechi Mark hold high-stake meeting, mall new platform. But anyway, I'll tell you to get more of that story up on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Punch this morning. Ala Akume rift threatens Benue National Assembly members' re-election bid. Is a screamer on page 18. And 2027, INEC registers 3.4 million new voters. Wow. And you can get more of that story up on page 7. World Bank flags fiscal risks in Nigerians' 4 trillion power bond. Is a major one on page 20. And Northeast logs nearly 2,000 explosions in 7 years. Wow. This according to a report on page 7 also. Let's see if we take some other leading stories. Still on the front page of the Punch this morning. And other stories to follow are right there on the Punch. And yes, a lot of construction, but we'll come back to that later. Youth rally Jonathan for 2027 presidential bid. It's another major one on page 12. A sad one on page 4 and 5. 500 level student dies during football match. Wow, quite really disturbing. Bauchi APC split over governor's defection move. It's also a screamer on page 18. But the picture of the day, when I talked about projects, is the Senate President and governors unveil Lagos mega projects. And you can see a whole lot that transpired just yesterday in Lagos. Well, that's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper.
And on the Daily Trust this morning, the lead story, 2027 ADC PDP close ranks. You can read that story up on page 4, 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust. Still on the front page, Nigeria's inflation remains high despite rebasing World Bank. That very story is on page 5. And on page 5, still on page 5, Trust TV wins Best Documentary Award. Oh, that is a very interesting story. You want to look up that story up on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Still on the front page, Nigeria not collapsing. Federal government replies CSOs. Still on page 5 of the Daily Trust. Let's see if we can still take more of the leading stories still on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Fagbo, Garo thought for Kano deputy governorship. The other story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust. Tanzania president orders officials to travel by bus amid fuel shortage.
Funny story.
Well, that story, you can get more of that details on page 22. And on page 10, Bauchi APC divided over Bala Mohammed defection bid. And on page 23, 3. Tinubu absence at Aphobia Commission Lagos project. Well, there's quite interesting story on page 23. And the picture of the day. The picture of the day is a screamer of the lead story. That's what we can take on the Daily Trust this morning.
Well, let's see if we take more papers, and we do have a whole lot to take. And I feel you should go ahead with the Nation.
The Nation this morning, Lagos State ushers in iconic project.
Yeah. Funny enough, that seems to be the only thing on the Nation this morning. I wonder. Okay, it's all about the project that we commissioned yesterday in Lagos State. Well, anyway, as that's the much they can take there, let me quickly run to the Nigerian Tribune. And on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the lead story reads, ADC Turaki-led PDP meets, explore 2027 options. The riders to follow, we paid solitary visit to ADC, PDP group. Nigeria must commit to clean democratic space, says Makinde. Atiku Obi Kwankwaso, Makinde, Wabara, Ghana, others attend meeting. And you can get more of that story up on page 2. Well, look as if there's plenty alliance as the 2027 election seems to draw near. But anyway, let's see if we take all that major one. Pipeline surveillance contract, National Assembly Committee passed vote of confidence in Tantita NNPCL orders. It's on page 4. Why Tinubu did not attend project commissioning in Lagos? According to the presidency, Lagos has raised bar in quality project delivery, said Mr. President, on now page 2. Let's see if we take some other major stories still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Okay, yes, let's see if we go to the bottom side. ADC leaders protest as INEC headquarters ask Commission to withdraw offensive correspondence to party threatening coordinated civil action. And you can get more of their action on page 3. Federal government 501 billion naira bond raises strong indicator of market confidence. This according to Gencos on page 5. Delta government approved 200,000 naira monthly tax-free allowance for medical doctors. Now the doctors will be smiling and doing the operations well. But anyway, get a copy of that, and page 15 has that story. But the picture of the day is just like what Patience Monday said. It's making the rounds on all papers. And it's more like the protest of ADC leaders at INEC headquarters. That was done yesterday, and you could see some major critical players. We're talking about Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Atiku, Turaki, a whole lot of all of them right there making the rounds on that paper. But that's the much we can take from the Nigerian Tribune.
Let's see what the Guardian has for us this morning. The lead story. Opposition exploits option as ADC. PDP questions INEC neutrality. Well, that very story is on page 6. Still on the front page. CSO's youth store, USO's youth store, Goodluck Jonathan's office urged him to contest. Mr. Michael, do you have anything to say?
Well, anyway, I'll be looking and wondering what will happen at the end.
Well, I can read out that story on page 3 of the Guardian. Finality of South Court ruling does not translate to infallibility in public eye. Well, you can get more of those details on page 7. 2027, don't give power to APC by boycotting polls at Adebayo edges Nigeria. Well, that story is on page 3 of the Guardian. Still on the front page, Aphobia Commission's Lagos project tax states on modern Nigeria. That very story is on page 7. And 2 years later, activist community urged military to release Okwama.
Wow.
Can get more of that details on page 29 of the Guardian. World Bank, multidimensional poverty threatening Nigeria's economic potential. Well, it will interest you to know more of the story on page 6. Still on the front page, Nigeria making progress, not on the brink of collapse. Federal government assured. Page 5 has the story. NCAA warns of flight delay cancellation during rainy season. Well, I thought Mr. Michael
a whole lot. Yeah.
So I feel that is why they are warning against delays and cancellation during rainy season. So it's interesting to know more of that on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And the picture of the day, still making rounds on all the major stories on paper this morning. ADC top short leaders protest to INEC office supporting the lead story. That's what we can take on the Guardian this morning.
Well, the Vanguard will be the last paper for us to quickly look at. And on the Vanguard, well, no surprise, a whole lot seems to be there. ADC leads 6-point demand at INEC protest. Atiku Obi Kwankwaso others lead protest in Abuja. Don't kill democracy. Obi Amici reject one-party rule. No cause for alarm over ADC crisis. David Mark assures PDP ADC leaders hold closed-door talks as INEC populated by card-carrying members of the APC. We didn't say so, but Senator Marafa seems to be screaming out that loud on page 5. But let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. And yes, we have a whole lot to take there. Federal government waivers demurrage on 10,000 containers, reviews single window progress. Wow, anyway, it's a major one that I feel you need to read up on page 20 of, the Vanguard newspaper. And well, it looks as if little or no story seems to be there. And can we take Mr. and Mrs.? Okay, let's see if we take. Always funny. You breastfed your son for 2.5 years. Now, he would have outgrown breastfeeding by age. And the other lady answered, outgrown? Do you know I am still breastfeeding his dad? Well, okay, well, anyway, it's a choker. But anyway, that's the funny part from Mr. and Mrs. this morning. And funny enough, that hilarious talk ends it all. But the picture of the day is that of the protest. And funny enough, not just only that, but the commissioner of projects in Lagos. And all of that played out yesterday in Abuja and Lagos. And that's the much you can take from the Vanguard. And funny enough, from the dailies this lovely morning, we will always implore you that if you find any of these stories quite interesting, do yourself that good in getting to read from them so you get abreast and know what seems to be happening in the country. I will always inform you that on Viewpoint, every lovely morning, we tend to always do these around 8:30 to 9. And you do know dialogue will definitely come next as much as the news will be and something to trend along later after the Viewpoint. But for now, we need to go on that break. You do know we enjoy going on a break to see if we pay our commercials. And when we come back, dialogue will take center stage right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Every year, millions of lives are stolen, dreams cut short, futures traded in silence. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery. It hides in plain sight. tearing families apart and trapping the vulnerable in fear. But together we can end it. Together we can protect, we can rescue, and we can give hope. Say no to exploitation. Say no to slavery. Say no to human trafficking. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian.
Okay, yeah, yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor AD.
Girl in your life.
My name is my wife, and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere or I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom. Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Love and staying in peace with her is God's plan. Together, we can raise our voices, protect the vulnerable, and rebuild lives. Say no to silence. Say no to fear. Say no to domestic violence. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV. Atlantic TV.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
It's your boy Godos, aka Comedy Berlusconi.
Hi, my name is Bobby. My name is Orisha Femi, aka the music and talent.
Emiap Bore Inarise of Jemwe, aka Short Family, aka the Comedy Millionaire, aka the online landlord in Lagos.
Alright, boss, my name is Oshby.
It's still your girl, MC Roya.
Alright, my name is The Soccer, the comedy catalyst, one of Nigerian comedy. You know me, the one of Adeshokpe Kingdom, the other back, or you say one. My papa said they know they use 2 legs. That's what I went deep.
The TV is real.
And you all should keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV, the best from the Niger Delta.
Stay glued to Atlantic TV.
Are you watching Atlantic TV?
Listen to me, you are locked down to Atlantic TV.
Keep watching.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Whether on your iPad or your laptop, just be glued. If it's your TV, be glued.
You want to get informative, educative, interactive, interesting, entertaining news, man. Keep it locked down.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
And you're watching Atlantic TV.
Don't shake that die. X amount of love. Peace out.
If you touch a map,
If not, I go off your gen. Now me talk.
Yeah.
Victor Eddie says so.
Short Family says so.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined, uniquely different.
The Nigerian Bar Association has mandated strict compliance with the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order 2023, effective from May 16 of 2023 and reaffirmed for enforcement in February of 2026. Now, this directive set mandatory minimum fee scales for legal service to prevent fee undercutting and ensure fair compensation. The National Executive Council of the Nigerian Bar Association has adopted the report of its Remuneration Committee and reaffirmed that the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order 2023 is not optional, but a binding regulatory instrument for legal practice in Nigeria. Now, according to the NBA, the report presented by the Remuneration Committee chaired by Chief Emeka Ogbegolo, SAN, details strategic intervention, nationwide advocacy efforts, enforcement activities, and disciplinary reviews carried out towards the end of 2025 and the start of the 2026 legal year. Now, adopting the report, the council mandated the committee, or rather commended the committee for what they describe as a sustained engagement and clear focus on institutionalizing a culture of fair remuneration within the legal profession. Reiterating the association's position, the next stressed that the remuneration order is not optional, but a binding regulatory instrument aimed at protecting the dignity, independence, and economic stability of legal practice in Nigeria. The council also welcomed the committee's public advocacy campaign, No Lawyer Should Be Shortchanged, saying that educating the public on transparent fee structures and fair valuation of legal service is essential to strengthening respect for the profession and reducing fee-related disputes. But the question is, what will this new remuneration order mean for Nigerians and their desired legal practitioner himself? And one that has been in the practice for decades now. I'm talking of no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Eriri is joining us away from Port Harcourt. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, my brother, Michael, and good morning, fellow listeners.
Well, anyway, it's a new order that really has come into effect on 1st of February 2026. Undermining the remuneration order was made or put forward way back in 2023. Now, I want us to have a clear understanding of what this order means, especially for those Nigerians that might not have been abreast with this new order. What does this mean for the legal profession, and what does it mean as it concerns payment of legal fees to lawyers.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. I want to thank you for this opportunity to enlighten fellow Deltans and the general public on the legal practitioners' remuneration in bracket for business, legal service and representation order 2023. This is a legal instrument that guides lawyers who have been called to the Nigerian bar as envisaged under the Legal Practitioners Act 2014 as amended, who have been licensed to practice law as solicitors and barristers of the Supreme for how they carry out their legal services to their clients. Now, this order is not really a new legal instrument per se. It has been there. But the effect, the compliance by lawyers has been so minimal that the Nigeria Bar Association, in conjunction with other legal bodies, like the Board of Benchers and etc., decided to come up with this order of 2023 to give a reawakening to lawyers that they should be well equipped and have a legal framework to guide how they charge clients in whatever transaction, either for business, legal services, and representation. Now, this order, legal practitioners remuneration order, are divided into 4 scales. They call them scale 1, which has to do with scale of charges on consultation and legal opinion. There was scale 2, which talk about scale of charges on incorporation of companies and business names. Then we have another scale, which is called scale 3. That is the scale of charges on litigation, either civil or criminal litigation, or labor matters, any other matters that has to do with law and humanity. Then scale 4 has to do with scale of charges in property transaction. And this will be the hub of our discussion as it affects everyone in the Delta State and beyond. Then scale 5 has to do with scale of charges on other commercial transactions on hourly rates. Now, a holistic approach or a holistic analysis of this scale that I just mentioned from scale 1 to 5, particularly with emphasis on 4, which has to do with scale of charges on property transactions, which has come into full force with, I think, since last so many branches of the NBA, particularly Ughelli, where I am in Warri and Environs, and be complying with this order that when the property is purchased by a buyer from the seller, the lawyer fees for the preparation of that document is not less than 10%. In fact, let me read the rule applicable to scale 4. It says a legal practitioner representing both parties is either as a vendor or an purchaser, lessor and lessee, or assignor and assignee, is entitled to a minimum of 10% of the value of the property or consideration as fees. The contribution rate to be agreed by with both parties, both contracting parties. Now, flowing from this provision that I just read under the order, the lawyer who is preparing a landed document purchased by a buyer or a purchaser or an assignee in whatever context is entitled to pay that lawyer a fee not less than 10% of the value of the property. For example, the property is bought for 5 million, for example. The fees expected to be paid to that lawyer is 500,000. And now the order made it so clear that when such payments are to be made, it should be channeled or paid directly to the NBA branch, where that lawyer who is to prepare the document practices or resides. And upon payment of that money to the branch, you don't pay to the lawyer directly. The lawyer, all he needs to do is for you to furnish him with the receipt of payment to the NBA, which he will now use in drafting the document, and take it to the NBA secretariat where he practices, and they will frank the documents and put the stamp of NDA to make it more genuine, because your stamp alone as a lawyer is no longer sufficient as far as this order is concerned. That of the NDA has to be affixed upon the document. Now, the reason for all this is because of the infiltration of fake lawyers. So many people parading and masquerading themselves as lawyers, agents masquerading themselves as lawyers, and non-lawyers masquerading themselves as lawyers, soliciting for briefs or soliciting for transactions from clients, innocent clients, who may not be able to verify if this person is a lawyer or not. The concept of the NDA seal, which every lawyer has today, is also flow from this order. Now, how can I know that this person is a lawyer? If a lawyer prepares a document without affixing the NDA seal to show his Supreme Court number, and other features that will identify him as a lawyer, then it is very difficult to ascertain that this person is a lawyer. So that is the idea of the NDAC. So the same thing applies to this elimination order. So when a property is bought by a client and he approaches a lawyer for the preparation and pays the minimum requirement of 10% of the value of that property, then that document is franked by him, affixed its seal, and the MD of that branch also affixed its seal.
Emmanuel, Barrister Emmanuel Riri, you've given us a total breakdown, and I'm also tempted to ask. Now, if this money is being paid into the MBA account, is there a fee that the MBA will impose on the 10% of this money being paid? For example, like you said, maybe 500,000 naira that was paid first into the MBA account, then the said lawyer will not take his receipt of payment to the MBA itself. Is there any other sub-charge that will be charged on account of this money by the MBA, by the association?
Yes, when that money is paid by the client to the MBA account, the MBA takes its own 10% for the running of the association and other activities that have to do with it. The MBA takes 10% from that money, then gives you the remainder as the lawyer 90% of your money as your fees. Yes. So the beauty of it is that there's uniformity in charges. Okay. So nobody goes below that. Any lawyer that prepares a document less than 10%, it is deemed to be a fake lawyer. It's not a lawyer in the research of it. So that is the idea. And the NBA went further to set up a committee, a remuneration committee or a task force to also ensure that there is high level of compliance as far as this order is concerned. In fact, it may interest you to know that some lawyers are also facing the other investigation. Some who are the held culpable are facing the Legal Practitioners Advisory Committee because it's a professional misconduct to go against an order that of this nation which is protected in your own interest as a legal practitioner, because the legal training of any lawyer is very expensive in Nigeria. Okay. In fact, if you have undergone the training for like 6 years and you come out and you find out that you now have to charge ridiculously, it's a day to the profession, and that's why the legal profession, through the NBA and other constituted bodies, they need fit to enact this order, which will guide our transactions with clients. And if you look at our sister bodies, like for example, our other body, like the medical profession, you find out that they have the uniformity in the way they carry out their services. You don't just go and meet a medical doctor and start making complaints about your health issues to him. He will tell you to pay consultation fee. But for a lawyer, you see, everybody wants to call a lawyer, everybody wants to approach a lawyer for free. In advanced countries like the Commonwealth nations, before in fact, so lawyers charge you per hour. Those who reside outside the country, they will tell you if you want to make or render for you to enjoy legal services outside the country, you pay per the time that the lawyer will take his time to explain services for you. But in Nigeria, that is not the case.
Okay, Barrister Emmanuel Riri, I will play with you to hold on now because you're making it far more clear for us now. Now, but would this not also sound a bit awkward? Awkward in the sense that a lawyer will go and make money, would go through the process of trying to get a client, that will have to deal with his properties, for only the NBA to take a certain fee from the lawyer when he naturally would be paying his dues. Because this is not a part of his dues that's mandated to pay as a member of the association, but rather another means of the NBA making money on accounts from the lawyers. So I don't understand. Would this be fair that you are paying your normal dues and yet now you are now being taxed for money that you naturally would have been the one that had gone to get it? So let's understand the fairness in this.
Well, I think that the idea of NBA retaining the particular percentage from a lawyer's fee that is paid by a client is not really a bad idea, because one, the NBA as it is, how do they function? They function with our collective efforts by dues we pay and other fees that will be used in promoting the activities of the NBA. Like, for example, the NBA has a project, like in most branches, they have projects, maybe they want to buy a car, for example, to ease the movement of escorts and all those. Instead of us raising funds to buy that particular car, from what they have retained so far from the transactions within that particular period, is sufficient enough to carry out such a project. So indirectly, the lawyer who has worked for his money has also contributed to the purchase of that car. Like some NBA centers, they have bar centers where we hold our meetings. You know, instead of us going to rent halls and all that, we contribute that money being retained by the NBA is also an advantage to actualize those projects. So it's not really a bad idea, but it's our own way of making our little contribution for the promotion of the legal profession, because no other profession can help us to actualize those projects apart from we, the members of the NBA. So it is a collective way to see that we give ourselves less expenses to the NBA in running the association, and also making sure that our little input by way of this percentage is paid to us for the preparation of legal instruments are channeled for a particular purpose and project. And you can see that NBA as a body, they have a lot of tasks they carry out. And most of these tasks that are being carried out, like pro bono services, like rendering of free services on different subject matters. These services are carried out at the expense of the NBA. So we have a little way to support them to discharge these functions, these responsibilities. So I think it's a very welcome idea for the legal profession. It's a welcome idea to every lawyer that the legal profession will now have the dignity that it is known for, that nobility that are thriving in the legal profession that makes so many persons to identify themselves with the profession. That memories, that old memory has come back to play.
Okay,
so I think it's a welcome development by the NBA.
Barrister Emmanuel Riri, I still want you to hold on here. And let's see if I really need to ask you this. Now, because we do know this will mean a whole lot of millions and millions of naira going to the coffers of the NBA on account of this new policy. And you totally agree with me that now being a chairman or the president of the NBA will now be a bit stiffer and well contested on account of monies that will be coming to the NBA. So would this not again indirectly bring more rancor into the NBA on account of who now becomes the chairman and who will be controlling these funds on account of being the chairman or president of the NBA in their different associations? So would this not make you coming in or the elections now a bit stiffer, knowing that you will not only be controlling just that elective position, but you have a whole lot of money to your own hand that you can use to run the affairs of the NBA, as you people will say? But would this not make the election or the elective position in the NBA now become more of a rigorous one and a one that is highly and duly contested?
Well, I think that, like I told you, I said earlier on, these fields that are being taken from us in form of like taxation. No, taxation is not a new skill in the affairs of a lot of professions. Even the government, they tax you as a private individual, as a public servant. So this is another form of taxation on lawyers. No, it's interesting to know that lawyers also pay tax. You understand? So when the charges are being, yes. Yes. So when these charges are being made, we are not perturbed because we know where it is channeled to. Now, for the NBA, yes, the NBA has as a body, they have different officers who run the NBA, and various persons who are interested, seeking offices, various offices, or to occupy various offices in the NBA, and they are eligible to contest for such offices. Of course, you definitely pass through the normal electoral process, and you emerge as a candidate who will not be sworn in as an officer of NBA. So all these officers are saddled with the responsibility of projecting the objectives and aims of the Nigeria Bar Association, both at the federal and at the branches level. So it's not a new development to anybody in the legal profession, except for those who are not members. But for those of us who are members, like I said, it's a welcome development. It's a pride to us, and it's something that will sustain on the long run. And I believe that a lot of persons will have more interest coming to the profession, which we also had then. And a lot of work will be shut up.
Thank you for giving us that clarity. All will be well. Very new scheme, but let's get more clarity as it concerns this policy. Yeah, you talked about that. You talked more of property as it concerns the 10% commission charge. But what of other cases? Would it not also reflect on individual cases? Maybe like if somebody is suing another person on account of not just property but other issues, would this also not reflect on that very charge also as a given or a mandated charge that will be needed from the client for you to stand for him or her?
Come again with that question?
I'm asking, is this new remuneration order also not take effect on account of a person seeking your service as a lawyer? Would it now be mandatory that a certain amount should be paid cut across board, irrespective of the lawyer? That's my question.
Well, with respect to the remuneration order and the lawyer's account, I think we have a client's account that every lawyer opens outside this property transaction. Like I told you, there are different skills in this remuneration order. Apart from skill 4, which is channeled mostly to the NBA for the purpose of accountability, transparency, and to ensure that the order is complied with. In skill 1, 2, 3, 5, those accounts that are assigned to a client, the lawyer opens a client account, those monies are paid for those services to be rendered under this scale. So that is a separate account from the lawyer's personal account. It's purely for business. And, you know, there are some lawyers who manage the intellectual property management. So the same thing applies. So when you manage a property, the same 10% is also paid by the landlord or the lessor to the lawyer. So, and even most rent paid is paid into that particular account designated as a client account. So the lawyer has no business after having taken his percentage to tamper with the entitlement of such a client. And it's a clear professional misconduct.
But Sir Emmanuel Riri, I will plead with you. It looks as if you did not get my question correctly. Now, so like you lawyers will say, let me rephrase my question. Now, my question is, apart from property, does this order also stand for other issues as it concerns legal fees, apart from property? Maybe you are facing a libel charge, maybe you are facing defamation. Does this also new order stands on that ground? Is it now that every lawyer will pay a certain fee according to issues that they are helping out to give their legal services for? So that's where my question lies. Is it now going to be that if you go to lawyer A, you want to face a libel charge, the money you are going to pay lawyer A is what you are going to pay lawyer B? Is that also a part of this remuneration order? I want to know.
I think, like I told you, for the scale of charges, when we talk about the scale of charges, there are different matters that every lawyer is expected to handle. And they are also assigned to different fees that the lawyer is expected to charge. So for those of us who are lawyers, we have the skill. It's something that cannot be displayed because a lot of members is not open to members outside the legal profession. But every legal practitioner called to the Nigerian bar or called to as a barrister or the Supreme Court of Nigeria is privileged to have this skill. And the year of call is also designated with the amount expected to charge on any subject matter, particularly litigation and all these giving consultancy charges on the corporation of companies and business.
Flat rate for all lawyers. Is it going to be a flat rate for all lawyers?
Yes. The rates are stated in the scale, in the remuneration order, applies to every lawyer, but depending on your year of call. Like I already said, your year of call will determine the kind of charges you like. What is senior update on Nigeria will charge is not the same thing like any other lawyer will charge.
Okay.
Because those are of the inner bar. They are of they have attained the highest rank in the legal profession. So if the firm is charging a matter for 5 million naira, if you miss a junior lawyer, maybe like 10 years post call or 20 years, you're not expecting to charge that same amount. That's what the order has said. So there's a distinction of different years of call and your rank in the profession and expected charges that you are supposed to give in line with this order. Okay. So they all stated in the scale of charges. Every legal professional is aware of that. So the order gives you uniformity in charges, irrespective of your year of call.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that clarity, because most Nigerians would really like to understand that. Now, my next question is, with our findings, almost 184 million cases are always being instituted annually in Nigeria, which is a huge amount. We're talking about different cases as it concerns persons suing for this and that. But my question now, if now the Nigerian Bar Association is coming with a flat rate, a rate that should be obeyed by almost all members, would this not also discourage people from wanting to get legal, not just only legal advice, but legal help from your association? Because now many persons will say, oh, it's going to be a flat rate. But before now, you can negotiate fairly with these persons to help them with their legal services. So my question is, would this not reduce the number of cases that might likely go to court?
No matter how the public perceives this order, it is still in the interest of the general public, because whether elected or not, it's just like somebody saying that you can do without a medical doctor. You cannot do without a medical doctor. Likewise, you cannot do without a lawyer. So it doesn't mean that if you need a lawyer,
but most Nigerians would rather go to the traditional setting. We see them taking Agbo and the rest on account of them not being able to pay. So that's why I'm asking this question. Would it not now push them to quacks or other means of finding legal redress rather than going to the members of the Nigerian Bar Association? It's just a question.
No, like I already said, even when this order is there, like I told you, lawyers still provide pro bono services. So it depends on the nature of the matter you bring to a lawyer. That would depend on whether he will charge you or not. But those matters that are expressly stated in the order, the lawyer is not expected to go outside that. And that does not mean that even when the client is so desirous of pursuing a particular action, the NBA has lawyers designated for that particular exercise. We have the Legal Aid Council. That council is set up for the purpose of addressing indigent clients. So if you have, like you see some human rights activism and all that, when you have a case in court and you know you are not equipped to pay the lawyer fees, you go to that council. Okay. And the council will assist you in your pursuit for justice or in the recovery of whatever subject matter you bring to them. So there are different bodies in the legal profession that have been set up to address those set of clients. So outside that, any client that is well-to-do and can afford legal representation, then if you approach any lawyer, the lawyer gives him his charges and the case, and the lawyer represents him in that capacity. So it is not a total disadvantage to the client that if you don't have money, you cannot pursue a legal matter or you cannot be successful a legal transaction. But for the export issue of transaction, especially, a man who can be able to buy a property of 1 million naira, my brother, I don't see where you have problem paying 100,000 naira as a legal fee to draft documents of the property bought for 1 million. And ironically, for this part we came from, we still where agents even charge even more than lawyers. People are not well skilled or trained, and they pay them. But when it comes to the legal practitioner, it feels that the money paid to them from observation from some clients is as if they are helping the lawyer. But they don't know that the lawyer is even protecting your interest on that property. So I think this is a reawakening for a lot of them to appreciate that this is how the legal profession operates, as opposed to their erroneous belief that the lawyer is like a servant, he just works without getting entitled to a particular fee that he is expected to get. So I think with this enlightenment and orientation, with this point in place, we put in check and establish a more cordial relationship between the lawyer and the client. And the general public is expected to buy into this idea and see that the relationship between the lawyer and the client is well established for the interest of justice and the interest of the administration of justice system.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Now, let's also return to, you made mention of it, and I want us to also look at it. Now, let's look at the issue of pro bono cases. Will it still be there? And would the Nigerian Bar Association would allow for such cases to go on? That's the question.
Who?
Pro bono.
So, what?
Would pro bono cases still go on? Would they be allowed to? Yes. No charge being for cases like that will go free for them.
Pro bono cases?
Yes.
The pro bono cases still goes on, yes. Pro bono cases, in fact, it's even one of the requirements for every lawyer who desires to be conferred with the prestigious title of the senior advocate of Nigeria. You must show at least some level of pro bono cases that you have done, not only just collecting a professional fee from the client. Okay. So that is designed for the purpose of saying that justice, the end of justice is met for those indigent clients. Okay. So lawyers do pro bono cases. Why not?
Okay. Now, can also these lawyers not go and do cases and pretend that it's pro bono cases because they do not want to pay charges? Because you do know some Nigerians who want to cut corners. And so how would the NBA fully understand that, and how can they checkmate such if it does happen?
Well, like O'Reilly said, we are human beings. And though the NBA has set up a committee, as well as a task force, to track a lot of persons masquerading as lawyers, or even lawyers who undercharge as against the remuneration order. Like I said, many days for the fee, 1 day for the owner. So the day you are caught, you are your own. The lawyer knows what the punishment will be if he appears before the legal practitioner disciplinary committee. So I think that every lawyer that knows this onions, who actually underwent the legal training in Nigeria, as rigorous as the training is, and he was called to the Nigerian bar, she is not expected to perform less than what the order has specified. For you to save yourself from embarrassment and all that. So even though nobody is watching you and you think you are smart, you cannot be smart forever, because one day that your smartness will be uncovered by subsequent transactions. So many of them that like I told you, that are facing one or two days, they did it secretly. Then suddenly even the clients that you have, most have a way of bringing you out or not to you. So there are some of the things we do. So the good is not indeed to that client. In another breath, he has revealed it by exposing it. And that's how some of them, the task force, disciplinary legal action, and when they verify and see evidence, then you got to face the law. The threat to disciplinary measures related to any lawyers. Okay. So no lawyer will want to face such an embarrassment. Rather, comply with the directive for your own interest and in the image of the legal profession, so that it will not be a bastardized profession that every quack starts infiltrating it and making mess and jest of the profession. So it's a good way to sanitize the legal profession, and I thank God for those who actually proposed this order and the drafters of the legal instruments, which is in the interest of every Nigerian lawyer.
Okay, well, thank you for that. But before I let you go, I know you're always so busy. Undermining today is Good Friday. You still have some issues to address. But let's quickly ask you this. Now, are we not going to see legal firestorm on account of this new directive? And the reason I'm asking this is I'm just wondering. I'm a man. I went through school on my own. The Nigerian Bar Association was not there when I went through the rigorous activities of going through school. Now I'm a registered lawyer, and now the Nigerian Bar Association is telling me how to fix my trade, how to fix money for my trade, what I need to do if I want to get money that I have really worked for and looked for. So are we not going to see other lawyers come out on account of this and say, this is just like what we are fighting, injustice on account of somebody fixing a rate for me when I have every reason to either increase my rate, if you don't like it, you go to another place. Because we do know that associations in Nigeria, especially when it comes to that of different trades, maybe that of car dealership, we're talking about that of market traders that are forming one association or the other. We know how they have really affected the market and made things really expensive for many Nigerians. And I know how many on how many accounts the Nigerian Bar Association has kicked against such unholy practice, especially as it concerns those persons pushing on associations and pegging the prices of things. So would this not also sound a bit awkward that now the Nigerian Bar Association is the one taking this to or towing this line of action?
Well, I think we need to understand and appreciate the fact that the Nigerian Bar Association, like every other association, is a unique association in the sense that it is undoubtedly manifest that you only see every lawyer called to the bar that is not a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. It's very, very difficult because, like I said, from the processing of your seal and all that, you must be a member of the bar because there are some of the privileges and the interests, the benefits you get from belonging to the association. So the moment you belong to an association, the implication is that whatever is binding in that association, you have subjected yourself to it. So if an instrument of this nation and other instruments have been put in place, having been a member of the association willingly, without being compelled or influenced, you are expected to carry out your obligations as spelled out in the association. Now, like you are trying to make a comparison of other unions, like Farmers Union, Traders Union, and all that. Yes, those who belong to those associations, you know they have a price regulatory system. They tell you that they are selling a bag of tomatoes for 1,000 naira. It's not expected that someone else who is not a member of the association should sell outside that amount. These are two different extremes because that is purely business. And what the people, actually the community, the people trying to consume. Then if a member that sells a particular commodity because it does not belong to a particular union and sells at a lesser amount, those who belong to those unions in most cases frown at it and they try to oppress or maybe attack those selling below, trying to follow their standard and all that. Those are totally different from the NBA. The NBA is a professional body. And as a professional body, it's just like the medical association and other professional bodies like that institute of surveyors and all that. You only see a surveyor who will make a survey of a land less than a particular figure go around 10 of the surveyors. They have a particular go that they will be surveying a plot of land for you if you purchase the property. So that is the uniformity and the distinction between a professional association and a non-professional union or association. So there's uniformity and there's distinction in whatever the NBA does. And the members who have subscribed themselves to the members of the NBA are very much comfortable with any decision that is taken there. Having subjected yourselves to become a member of that body, because it is hardly, whether you're a lecturer, whether you're in the public service or in private service, you hardly see anybody who is not a member of the NBA, even politicians who are lawyers. So the benefit is there, and that is why some of them are still there. And nobody has raised any alarm to say, no, I am no longer a member of NBA because of one or two things that is going on there. I have decided to withdraw my membership. No member can do that. But in other clients, in other bodies, they can quickly withdraw from such an association or union to say, no. I thought my interest would be protected, but what I'm seeing here is different. You can have that privilege to exist. But for the NBA, it is very, very unlikely for a legal practitioner who knows its onions, having gone through the legal training, to say because one or two things are playing out, which is for your own interest, you say you want to disengage yourself from the NBA. It's not practicable.
Well, anyway, I need to thank you so much for your time, but I'm also a bit concerned that with this new directive, maybe properties will now be expensive, with persons knowing that they need to pay the required fee to the legal practitioner that might have help to indeed arrange the papers. Well, anyway, we just hope that properties will not go to the roof on account of this. But all the same, thank you so much for joining us. And I know how busy you are. Presently now you are in Port Harcourt on account of a job you need to do. I would have had
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, we would have had you live here in the studios. Thank you so much. And I'm talking of no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Riri. It's always nice having you on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother, my career, and thank you, Family Delta, for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Well, anyway, it's more like a wrap on the show today. You do know how we always love to do it. We tell you it never ends. You can also be a part of it. Let's have your comment, share, and indeed like all we are doing on the dialogue and on this platform. Remember to send those to our different social media platforms. They're funny enough, they're already there on your screen. And let's get your reaction as it concerns it. It's a beautiful one, a lovely Good Friday edition of Dialogue. But we'll remind you, don't go anywhere. We're trying to make your day truly enjoyable being with us. Because the news will come around the hour as much as something to trend later, right here on Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Praise the host community present and all good citizens of Warri Kingdom and Nigeria at large. Today being the 8th day of the month of April 2026, we are having World Press Conference centered on centralized coordination, not fragmented control, pipeline security under the PIA. A statement as read. The Petroleum Industrial Act, PIA 2021, established a carefully balanced framework for securing Nigeria's oil infrastructure, built on three interlocking pillars: commercial versatility, host community integration, and national security. Within this structure, surveillance is not treated as distributed community benefit, but as a specialized security function requiring professional competence, operational discipline, and unified command. Under the PIA, Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited retained primary responsibility to the protection of the oil infrastructure, while Section 257 acknowledged the role of the host community, principally through the Host Community Development Trust. This participation is situated within governance and benefit sharing mechanism, not the direct execution of surveillance operation. The distinction is deliberate. Surveillance by its nature demands technical capacity, coordination, and accountability. Standard that extended beyond informal and fragmented community-based arrangement. Historically, Nigeria pipeline surveillance architecture has evolved through both experimentation and correction. The earlier model under Oil Facility Surveillance Limited, involving prominent regional actors, reflected an attempt to integrate local influence into asset protection. However, its limited success necessitated the transition to Ocean Marine Solutions Limited, OML, in 2014, a private security firm with demonstrational operational capacity, critically such as OML contracts incorporated as strictly accountability mechanism. Any pipeline damage under its watch was repaired at its own cost, aligning financial incentive with professional performance outcome. Between 2014 and 2022, OML's operational responsibility expanded under the host community contractor, covering community relations, maintenance, and workforce management. While the structures model remind of visible deficiency in execution, particularly regarding workers' welfare and payment irregularity, undermine confidence. These failures were marginal rather than systematic, but their impact was sufficient to trigger a restructuring of contracts with Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited and Tantata Security Service, assuming responsibility across different regions. It is against this historical and legal backdrop that current call for decentralization pipeline surveillance to community-based actors must be critically assessed, while advocating frames such as proposal as enhanced local ownership. They risk introducing fragmentation into a domain that depends on coexistence, coherence, and command integrity. Disintegrating the surveillance responsibility across multiple community groups would complicate coordination, dilute accountability, and potentially expose critical infrastructure to greater risk. This is not to diminish the importance of the host community. On the contrary, sustainable security outcomes depend on their inclusion, cooperation, and economic participation. However, the PIA shines its inclusion through structured mechanisms designed to complement, not replace, professional surveillance operations, like the issue of the contract of NNPC. Now, we all are aware that when the turnaround maintenance of Warri Refinery, Kaduna Refinery, and Port Refinery was to be kickstarted, the NNPC awarded this contract to various companies, such as Daewoo. In Warri Refinery, we have Daewoo company handling the project. Then Daewoo, in turn, because of the local content and PIA, awarded the various structures of their company to indigenous contractors to handle. Now, also, in same vein, some years ago, in 2009, with 2009, when the Southern Gas project, which is popularly known as the EGTA contract, want to commence, the company, Chevron and NNPC, required a company called Southern Gas, known as SGC, to handle that project. And SGC awarded part of the contract to Daewoo to handle. So, NNPC or federal government will not call everybody to handle some certain critical project. But what they do, they give it to competent hand to handle. Unlimitedly, the issue is not whether communities should benefit or participate, but how that participation is structured. The PIA provides a clear answer. Professionally managed security system, effort to repatriate the law in favor of fragmented control do not strengthen pipeline protection. They undermine the very coordination structure, such as protection of the required pipeline. That is to say, if you break down the control of the pipeline job into fragments, asking all community, asking all individual to protect this pipeline. Yes, it's a clear agitation, but that will not give you the best results at the end of the day, because you will see there's not going to be a directional process of communication. Who is to be held responsible? When you get to this person will say, no, I'm not in charge of this place. This person will say, I'm not in charge of this place. That is why NNPC in their wisdom, or federal government in their wisdom, apportion or give out this contract to professional company that is handling this project. And I believe this company also awarded part of this contract to indigenous or host community within that area of operation. So our appeal and our press today is this, that we are not in support of decentralized pipeline security operation. We know what this agitation has caused in the past. In the past, where everybody, there is no structured individuals or company that should be held liable for any issue regarding to the oil and gas. This has reduced our quantum of protection or production over the years. But now that these companies are handling this project, we can see the benefits. We can see that there is increase in the quantum of oil production. So I think we should give them a chance to operate, because centralized system of protection is the best way to go. Even in other developed countries, they don't just give pipeline contracts to any Dick and Harry in the street. They give it to professional companies that can handle this project and can be accountable to it. So we want to greet every one of you, want to encourage the president, and also thank him for his reason by awarding the contract protection to people, indigenous from the Niger Delta area. I think the company that is presently handling this project are from the Niger Delta region. Before today, we have been seeing companies from outside the Niger Delta region handling projects such as this surveillance project in the region. Today, we are handling it by ourselves. I think it should be something we should appreciate the president for. not causing chaos. We want to appeal to all the conscience of those that are clamoring and shouting, demanding that this contract or this project or the surveillance security protection should be decentralized. We want to appeal to them to have a sense of reasoning and think, if this is done, will it affect the production of the oil quantum we are presently gaining as a country? Now, if it's centralized, are we going to appreciate more that we are doing over these years? If so, we want to tell them to give peace a chance. Thank you very much.
First of all, my name is Isheo Maju. I am the chairman of Host Community of Nigeria Producing Oil and Gas, Ishekiri chapter. I just want to clear one small issue, because a lot of complaints aside there that is the community that's supposed to manage it indirectly. It's very clear. The contractors are not doing it themselves. Having this contract, they go to the communities directly, have dealings one-on-one with the leadership. That is how they operate. You cannot call somebody from Obuangwe to come and guide Ekredi Shekiri. It's the same Ekredi people that we use to guide Ekredi. The contractors are working in accordance with the community leadership. And I don't see anything wrong there. That is why the communities are fully involved. Because you cannot do this pipeline security without the communities. So we are fully involved by engaging with the contractors that are involved, Tantita and the rest. So we don't have issues. That I want to clear for you people to be aware of. Thank you very much.
Talk about the problem of decentralization.
Yes.
Do you feel it may decentralize to bring works and people that are not really have that knowledge in managing the pipeline into it? Do you feel decentralization will be more of a harm than good?
The decentralization will be more of a harm to the system. Because it's very clear, like I said, decentralizing this process is not the issue. The community involving in the system is the issue. And that is what the contractors are doing. You must engage the communities. It's only the host communities that can protect their property. Not you. Not decentralizing it. That is the solution of this problem. We are okay with what the system is, with the way the system is going. Whether you like it or not, the production is going. So thank you.
All right. We do talk about decentralizing this security project. Yes, it will be a problem to us because at the end of the day, we will fall into wrong hands. We are talking about security. They are trained companies. We have trained people that knows how to do this job better. By you centralizing this project now, at the end of the day, you fall to a community boy that does not have any idea of security. At the end of the day, we start having problems. So these are where we are going against. We really don't want centralizing this project. The way it is, we are very, very okay. Very, very okay with it. So we want to appeal to Mr. President we need more of this security. We need more hands, not to centralize it. Like I keep saying, we have other projects in Abuja. There are projects there in Abuja where anybody can just walk to, just go and find what to do. Maybe you have more of the project, but for the now, I think we are very, very okay with what we have. Thank you very much.
Atlantic Media and TV Group.
All right, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor Adi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Nanja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
As you know, you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom. Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Good day and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I'm Michael Gobadio. Here are our top stories. Federal government issues flood alert for 10 states. 2027 Wiki-backed PDP opposes Makinde ADC alliance. Power crisis lingers as minister misses 2-week deadline. The foreign scene, Iran accuses US of violating ceasefire amid Strait of Hormuz tension. And talking sport, Nigerian Football Federation respond to Flying Eagles' 1.5 billion naira unpaid bonuses claims. Now to the news in full. The federal government has issued a flood alert for communities in 10 states, warning of heavy rainfall that could trigger flooding between April the 8th and April the 12th. The Nigerian Flood Early Warning Center under the Ministry of Environment said areas in Ebonyi, Anambra, Ogun, Taraba, Cross River, Benue, Imo, Delta, Rivers, and Abia State are at risk. Specific towns include Efokpo and Nkalago in Ebonyi. Others are Nicha in Anambra, Ilero in Ogun, and Dango in Taraba, Ekom in Cross River, Igumale in Benue, Owerri in Imo, Okwa-Anara in Delta, and Port Harcourt in Rivers, and Umahia in Abia. The ministry urged residents and local authorities to take precautionary measures to minimize damage, while farmers are reminded to follow early guidance for the Nigerian Meteorological Agency against early planting due to unpredictable rains. Authorities has called on stakeholders to stay alert as the rainy season continues, emphasizing the importance of preparedness to reduce risks to lives, properties, and livelihood. Health workers protested in Abuja against the proposed Medical and Dental Practitioners Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill of 2026. Warning threatens the independence of nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, and radiographers. The bill could centralize regulatory power under the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, sidelining other professional bodies. Johansson says this could destabilize the sector and reduce efficiency in patient care. Alleged health workers warn the bill may undermine emerging areas like digital health and telemedicine, and allege it could also financially favor one profession over others. Experts point to global models in the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, where each health professional retains autonomy. Stakeholders urged the National Assembly to hold the bill and ensure broad consultation to protect Nigerians' healthcare system. Away from that, PDP leaders backed by Governor Seyi Makinde met with former Senate President David Mark and ex-Governor Ralph Aregbesola on Wednesday in Abuja ahead of the 2027 elections. The meeting reportedly discussed collaboration and a common platform to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu through the Wike-led PDP faction denied any formal alliance with the ADC. Opposition leaders, including Atiku Bakar and Peter Obi, also protested at INEC, demanding recognition of the David Mark ADC committee and warning against threats to democracy. With ongoing legal battles and financial disputes or factional disputes, the opposition remains divided, leaving uncertainty over alliance and party structures ahead of the 2027 polls. Still talking politics, hundreds of youths on Wednesday stormed the Abuja residence of former President Goodluck Jonathan, urging him to contest the 2027 presidential election. The protests under the Coalition for Goodluck Jonathan gathered in Maitama, chanting slogans and displaying placards calling for his return to power, a move that caused traffic disruptions in the area. The group's leaders said the demand followed modes of nationwide consultation, describing Jonathan as a unifying figure capable of addressing Nigerians' current challenges and vowed a sustained campaign. Although Jonathan was not available to address the crowd, the rally gathered and adds to growing calls for his return, even as the former president has yet to declare interest in the 2027 race. Power generation in Nigeria remains low, despite assurances by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, that outages would ease within 2 weeks. The supply continued to hover between 3,000 and 4,000 megawatts, leaving many homes and businesses without electricity. Checks show only slight improvement in some areas, with many Nigerians still in darkness. The crisis has been largely blamed on gas shortages, with the Association of Power Generating Companies warning that suppliers are withholding gas over unpaid debt. Industry operators said the situation is worsened by disputes across the sector, as generation companies accuse distribution companies of rejecting available power, while discos and sea transmission challenges limit what they can take. The blame game continues. Electricity supply remains below 2025 levels, and millions of Nigerians are still waiting for the promised improvement. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has called on oil and gas companies to strengthen development efforts in host communities through better partnership and also collaboration. The call was made at the Stakeholders Forum in Yanigua, Bayelsa State, where a board stressed the efficient implementation of host community framework is key to long-term development. Officials highlighted the role of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 in driving structured and accountable community development, while urging operators to deliver measurable impact. Stakeholders at the forum also expressed or emphasized transparency, strong leadership, and sustained engagement as critical to improving the lives of oil-bearing communities. On that note, we'll go on a break now, but do remember, when we come back, we'll have news as it concerns the foreign scene and sport news. Join us again.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
On the foreign scene, tension in the Middle East are rising as Iran accuses the United States of breaching a fragile ceasefire, even as President Donald Trump insists the truce remains intact. Explosions have been reported across key Gulf states, and confusion surrounds the status of the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran claims the strategic waterway is closed, while Washington insists it remains open. Iran's parliamentary speaker Mohammed Ghalibaf said the U.S. violated the ceasefire through Israel's strike on Lebanon, allegedly drone incursion and opposition to Iran's uranium enrichment. Ghalibaf warns that negotiations are now unreasonable under this condition. The White House rejected Iran's claim. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says U.S. red lines remain firm, adding that the Strait of Hormuz is operational despite conflicting reports from Iranian media. Meanwhile, regional attacks continue, with Saudi Arabia oil pipeline targeted by drones, Kuwait intercepting 28 drones, and explosion reported in Tehran, fueling fears of wider escalation. Israel air raid has struck central Beirut without warning, hitting busy commercial and residential areas just hours after a ceasefire was announced in the U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran. Lebanon Ministry of Public Health reports dozens killed and hundreds injured, with numbers expected to rise as rescue teams search the rubble. The Israeli army says over 100 Hezbollah-linked sites were targeted across Beirut, southern Lebanon, and the eastern Bekaa Valley in a 10-minute operation, calling it the largest coordinated strike of the current conflict. Residents described chaotic scenes as siren blood, debris-littered streets, and people fled in panic. Lebanon National News Agency confirmed at least 5 central and coastal neighborhoods were hit. Israel claims the strike hit missile launchers, command centers, and intelligence sites, alleging Hezbollah used citizens as shields. Local officials dispute these, saying the bombed buildings were not military targets. While Israel had previously bombed southern and eastern Lebanon, attacks in central Beirut have been rare during this round of fighting, which began on March 2nd so far. Airstrikes in Lebanon has killed over 1,530 people and displaced at least 1.2 million residents. Next is sport news. Nigerian under-20 men's team, the Flying Eagles, are calling on the Nigerian Football Federation to pay outstanding bonuses and cap allowances from the past 3 years. Members of the 2023 and 2025 Flying Eagles squad say they are yet to receive qualification bonus and pre-tournament camp allowances for 6 major tournaments, including the WAFO B Cup, the Under-20 AFCON, and the Under-20 World Cups in Argentina and Chile. Under coach Laden Bosu, the team won the WAFO B Cup, finished third at the 2023 Under-20 AFCON, and reached the World Cup quarterfinals. 2 years later, coach Aliu led them to the Under-20 AFCON semi-finals and the World Cup appearance in Chile, where they were eliminated by Argentina. Players claim the NFF is only owing to pay or willing to pay daily allowances and not the promised $5,000 qualification bonus per tournament. A source said the Federation is trying to settle such debt ahead of the elective congresses. The NFF General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi assured that the payments are being processed. It can't be all at once, but a substantial amount will be paid, he said, adding that all matches were duly approved. The issue adds to ongoing bonus disputes affecting the Nigerian national teams. Paris Saint-Germain opened a 2-0 advantage over Liverpool in the Champions League quarterfinals. The first leg, played in Paris on Wednesday, saw Desire gave the holders a lead with a defective strike that sailed over the Liverpool keeper. Later, Kachika sealed the win with a composed finish, putting Luis Enrique's side in a commanding position ahead of next week's return leg at Anfield. PSG now look to carry this momentum into the second leg as they aim to secure a semi-final spot in Europe's elite competition. Now, let's check what the weather will look like for major cities across Nigeria. Well, it looks as if it will continue to rain in some major cities across Nigeria. My only advice is try to keep yourself pretty dry. Anyway, with the weather forecast, that brings us to the end of the news on Atlantic TV. I remain Mike Egobadia. Do have a blessed day. Bye for now.